An alarming new report shows that the sugar industry sweetened the truth, suppressing the health risks of sugar. The Journal of the American Medical Association reveals that scientists were paid in the 1960s to play down the link between sugar and heart disease and instead make saturated fat the culprit. The research focuses on a 1967 article published in the New England Journal of Medicine, which concluded there was no doubt that reducing cholesterol and saturated fat was the only dietary intervention needed to prevent heart disease. Nutritionist and registered dietitian Keri Glassman of Nutritionist Life is here with me now. Good to have you.
Thank you so much for having me, because believe me, I've been reading this for the past couple of days like, oh my God.
What did you think when you read this?
Well, we know that the research was not accurate, right? We know, I mean, many health professionals now know that fat is your friend, and that eating dietary cholesterol doesn't increase your blood cholesterol, and that there's a big role for even some saturated fat in your diet, not just other healthy fats like monounsaturated fats. So most health professionals now, or many I should say, do understand the value of fat and that sugar is not okay. Even, it's not the fat-free time of, the 80s, or I remember when I was in college and everybody was, oh, it's fat-free, it's just calories.
Right. But
they don't count.
Pumped up
it
with
doesn't
sugar.
matter. We now know, I always tell my clients I would much rather them have a handful of nuts with fat than, let's say, the same calories worth of pretzels, which is all sugar. So the research doesn't surprise me that the research was wrong, but as far as the way the research was funded, but not only funded, but manipulated.
Right, that's the surprising thing.
That is so shocking and so really just disheartening. So disheartening. Makes me angry, really.
But it's interesting because now we know that sugar in almost all of its forms doesn't mean you can't have any, right? You're not saying that people shouldn't have a piece of chocolate from time to time, or, because you don't want to deny yourself every single day for the rest of your life. But we know that sugar in almost all of its forms is generally bad for you. Doesn't the body sort of treat sugar like a poison?
It does, absolutely. We know that adage, and I actually say, I'm the type of person when it comes to, when I'm giving diet advice, like I believe in conscious indulgences, like you just said, that chocolate. But I do say, and also, a chocolate chip cookie here and there, and your treat of pasta here and there. But I do say that on a regular basis, there is no need for any added sugar on a daily basis. You don't need any added. Now, that I'm not talking about sugar in yogurt and fruit and places like that, but you don't need any added sugar because there's no value. There's no nutrients in it. It's pure calories with no nutritional value. There's no fiber to help fill you up. There's no vitamin C, there's no protein, there's no fat. There's nothing that's doing any good for you. It's just pure calories that cause inflammation in the body. And then we know those calories are going to ultimately turn to fat in your body when they're excess calories. They don't keep you satisfied, so you look for even more calories later on to fill yourself up. And too much sugar can lead to insulin resistance.
Right.
And that we know is strongly linked to metabolic disease, as metabolic syndrome, as well as cardiovascular disease. So, a variety of reasons that sugar is not our friend.
All right, let me just put up a statement there, because the Sugar Association actually responded to this study. They say, we acknowledge that the Sugar Research Foundation should have exercised greater transparency in all of its research activities. However, when the studies in question were published, funding disclosures and transparency standards were not the norm that they are today. We question this author's continued attempts to reframe historical occurrences to conveniently align with the currently trending anti-sugar narrative, particularly when the last several decades of research have concluded that sugar does not have a unique role in heart disease. So here's the question: does sugar lead to a greater risk of heart disease? I like how they say it doesn't lead. It doesn't have a unique role.
It's a unique way to use the word unique. It has a big role. Sugar plays a role. There is multiple research. You're going to always find research on both sides, right? You're going to find. That's what nutrition is, a young science. There's going to always be new research, old research, or two forms of new research that show different sides, right? But there is research. The American Heart Association even, says that has statements out that says that sugar is linked to cardiovascular disease, plays a role in cardiovascular disease. There's multiple studies on that. So, the unique role, it's a pretty, however they're using the word unique, they're saying that, but it plays a role.
Yeah, never touch the stuff, never touch the stuff. Keri Glassman, so good to have you. Thank you.
Oh, you're so welcome.